Page Punchers!
Howdy doody diddly everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be reviewing the DC Direct McFarlane Toys Page Punchers Superboy action figure. Front of the package, giant bubble as we're used to with these Page Punchers figures. I just can't get enough of this classic DC Comics logo that is now the new DC Comics logo. The back of the packaging shows issue number 1 of Superboy comics from Kessel Grummet and Hazelwood, one of my favorite teams of all time, actually. And because this is a Page Punchers, this is actually a comic in here. So, why don't we open this guy up, yoink him out, and take a closer look. And so here we are. Everything is out of the bubble. We have the comic, the reprint of Superboy, issue number 1, the trading card, 2 more interchangeable hands that were packed in, the action figure base, and the Superboy figure. It's all there. 2 things that Superboy you'll notice does not come with, which I think are quite essential to the overall look of the character. 1, he doesn't come with his circular shades, and 2, he doesn't come with his Superboy leather jacket. No jacket, no shades. What a bummer. The hands that Superboy does come with consist of 1 fist, 2 open hands, and a thumbs up hand. I sure do wish that they had traded that thumbs up hand in for another fist. The trading card that Superboy comes with is a fantastic piece of artwork, and it also differs from that of the cover of the comic book that he comes with. The back of the trading card, as usual, has a data file bio, which I'm going to let you pause to read that if you'd like to. The packed-in comic book, being a reprint of Superboy issue number 1, takes place, as you might have guessed by the cover, in the Hawaiian Islands. And it is a fantastic cover story, a fantastic first issue. And I don't think that I bought too many of Superboy because I couldn't afford to. I didn't make that much with my allowance, but the ones I did buy back in the day, I remember really liking a lot. This was a fantastic story, a fantastic comic book, and a fantastic creative team. Just having Superboy here up on the spinner, for just a moment I want to get a good look all around at this guy before we take a peekaroo at him in hand and compare him to other Superboy figures and other Superman characters. I think so far they did a pretty good job. A lot of this detail has been painted on, but a lot of this painted on detail actually looks pretty tidy, pretty neat for what it is. So far, I like what I'm seeing. For my first comparison with this Superboy, I wanted to bring in the other Connors. So on the left we have jeans and t-shirt, as you can see, and on the right we have the modern reimagining of the classic Connor suit. So this is essentially how he looks right now, pretty much. For my next comparison, I've got him here with the other reign of the Superman characters that McFarlane has made, the Eradicator, the Cyborg Superman, and John Henry Iron Steel. Don't let the shiny paint fool you. That is the McFarlane figure under there. I just decided to give him a brand new paint job. And looking at all 4 of these figures together, the only scale issue I see really is that I wish that Superboy was about a head shorter. I wish that he was shorter. He probably should be shorter. And for my next comparison, I have him alongside a bunch of other Superman figures, all that utilize a different Superman body buck, just to give you an idea of how this figure would scale against or alongside all of these different Superman figures. And now having this figure in hand and up close, look at that face sculpt. That's actually really good. That is really, really well done. That is one of McFarlane's best facial sculpts for comparison to how they looked in the comic books at the time. I think that this looks absolutely fantastic. Between the eyes, the eyebrows, the undercut on top, the skin tone, I think that this looks absolutely fantastic. This looks so good. They did a great job. They got his earring. They've got the scruff on the back of his head here, all painted on there. Yeah, I think that they've done a great job with this Superboy's facial sculpt, for sure. Superboy's chest emblem looks nice, clean, and tidy. So no complaints there. The paint looks like it's pretty much where it's supposed to be. All of the lines are crisp. Down here, we have a different array of details to look at. We have his belts here, his Superboy belts that hang down. And we've also got these lines here that have been painted around his wrists, which are also comic accurate. And then we have this band right here around his leg, which is also comic accurate. So all these details here look pretty good, even though some of them have been painted. I will say they probably didn't need to paint this red right here on the abdomen, and it's on both sides. You can see it right here. They probably could have gotten away with just painting the blue triangle down here and then using this trunks area, and that would have been just good enough. And then we have Superboy's boots, which look pretty good. The paint detail looks as tidy as I suppose it needs to. I do kind of wish that the straps on either side of his boots here had been sculpted on, but this is a reused body buck that we've seen multiple times, so I understand why they didn't. One thing that I do think looks really strange about this figure, and I don't really know how they could have tackled it and done this any better, it's the black sockets you've got right here. They really are quite strange. Like, they're all black, right? And you don't really notice it if you have your character standing, you know, like this, and his shoulders are a little bit slopey. You won't really notice it. But if you stand your character, you know, with his arms and shoulders more up, then you're going to notice these black rings, and they look kind of strange, right? It's not just me. They look weird, right? So I wish that they were somehow different. All in all, though, a very cool looking figure, a very good additive to my Superman family from the 90s. He will go great in my 90s display. But now it is time to find out how articulated Superboy really is. So, for starters, his head moves over that far, and it bobbles, looks down about that. Looks up about that. That could be better. Could be worse. Arms, both of them are going to go up about that for a T. And then we have the rounded hinge, of course, as we're used to seeing. We have the bicep swivel, round and round it goes. We have double jointed elbow. Down here underneath that, we have the rounded hinge that, if I'm being honest, because of the cuff of his glove, really doesn't do much of anything. It does spin. It just doesn't, you know, it doesn't, that hinge is basically useless. Only the peg is something you can use. Then with the chest tipped all the way back and the head, that's what we get for a flight pose, which is fantastic. I like that very much. And then when we add the waist in, oh boy, look at him. Ready to go all the way under and do the limbo. When we move his ab crunch forward, that's actually better than a lot of McFarlane figures end up getting. And we move him forward with the waist, we get that. So not much difference. It is nice that this torso will also very easily move all around, and the same will be with the waist. The waist will go 360, and I really like how articulated the torso is by comparison to a lot of McFarlane figures. Down here at the groin, where the legs attach to the body, he can do a full splats, and that's because you've got that McFarlane style ratchety leg attachments there. What does he get? Come on, let's see. Thigh cut. Out that far. Let's turn it. Well, that's better than some. That's definitely better than some. Not the greatest, but better than some. And then we have how far forward Superboy's legs are going to go. And then we have how far back they're going to go. The knee joint, being double hinged there, goes up really nicely. And then we have his foot, which has a rounded shaped hinge, and it's going to pivot, and it goes up that, down that much, and he's got the toe there. and that is more than what is humanly possible without breaking your foot. So certainly a pretty reasonable amount of articulation for this figure. Could have been a lot worse. But what do I think about this figure? Do I like it? Is it good? Or is it garbage? Is it tubular? Or is it trash? Honestly, I really like this figure. I do wish he came with glasses. I do wish he came with a jacket. And I do wish that there were parts of his body that were sculpted rather than just painted on. And I do wish that he was perhaps a little bit shorter. All those things taken into consideration, I still think that this is a pretty rad figure, a pretty awesome representation of a character whom I love very, very much. Anyway, those are my thoughts, viewpoints, and opinions. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video, and I will see you all with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care. Bye for now.